Moving to Traverse City could be the best decision of your life, or it could be the biggest regret. I've watched people fall in love with the $1 million views, the great restaurants, and the luxury waterfront homes, only to move away 6 months later. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the truth is, Northern Michigan is not for everyone. In this video, I'm not holding anything back. You'll get the unfiltered truth about what it's really like to live in Traverse City. From the stunning waterfront lifestyle to the brutal winters that send people packing. Plus, I'll tell you exactly who should live here and who should look elsewhere. So let's dive into it. Traverse City is one of the most beautiful places in Northern Michigan, and that's not just my opinion, it's the truth. Nestled along Grand Traverse Bay, this area is surrounded by some of the most picturesque views you will find anywhere. Think crystal clear waters, rolling hills, and endless forests. Plus an abundance of inland lakes. Everywhere you look, it feels like a postcard has come to life. Living here means you get to experience all of this natural beauty every single day. Whether you're going downtown to grab a coffee, or driving around the scenic route on Old Mission Peninsula, or even in your backyard, the geography in Traverse City is truly something special that is hard to find elsewhere. One thing that I love about Traverse City is it sets the stage for the perfect lifestyle, whether you want to be more laid back or more adventurous. And with Lake Michigan right at your doorstep, the water is not only something you look at, but something you get to live in. Boating, kayaking, fishing, or just catching a sunset over the bay, it's all part of the daily experience here. We'll talk about the lifestyle more here in a minute. Something special about Traverse City and Northern Michigan in general is it brings 4 distinct seasons each year. And each of those seasons brings something different to the table. Summers here are everything you could want. With warm days in the high 80s and cool evenings, it makes the best environment to have a bonfire at the end of the day. It's the season of beaches, paddleboarding, and exploring the Sleeping Bear Dunes. Now let's face it, most people move to Northern Michigan because of the summers, and in my opinion, they are impossible to beat. Then there's the fall, which as you know, is my personal favorite. The leaves changing in this area are nothing short of spectacular. Picture this, rolling hills with vibrant colors of red, orange, and even yellow. Add in the crisp autumn air and a bunch of local cider mills, and you have the perfect recipe for a Sunday afternoon of hiking, drinking cider, and eating apples. And if hiking isn't quite your thing and you like a more laid-back lifestyle, there's nothing wrong with getting in your car and touring the scenic countryside looking for the vibrant colors. And let's not forget about winter. I personally think winter in Traverse City gets a bad rap. Yes, it's much colder with average temperatures in the low 20s, but those who love skiing, snowboarding, or even just looking at snow love living in Traverse City. Traverse City is truly a winter wonderland filled with activities. So we've talked about summer, which is everybody's favorite. We've talked about fall, which is my favorite. And we've talked about the most underrated season of the year, winter. So what's left? Spring, of course. I personally love spring in Traverse City because the world comes back to life. You start to have hope for those great summer days while you watch the snow fade away. Also, something unique to Traverse City in the springtime are the cherry blossoms. They are truly beautiful, but let me tell you, if you have allergies, they may make you sneeze. Also, depending on how quickly the snow melts, the spring is a great time to go on hikes and even get on the water a little bit. But here's the thing, Traverse City, while beautiful, is not all about just what you can see. It's also about what you can do there. From boating, biking, and skiing, the outdoor activity opportunities are endless. We're going to dive into this later in the video, so make sure you stick around to find out how to make the most out of each season in Traverse City. Now you're probably wondering, how am I going to make a living in Traverse City? Sure, it's a beautiful place to live, but can you actually build your career here? And let me tell you, Traverse City is not just a place to call home. It's where opportunity meets lifestyle. But do me a favor, before we get into it, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss one of these videos. One of the most exciting things about Traverse City is the vibrant and diverse economy. From its roots in agriculture to its growing tech scene, there's so much happening here. And it's all driven by a really strong sense of community. So let's break it down. Tourism is a big deal in Traverse City, and for good reason. Every summer, people flock to Traverse City for the local wineries, the beaches, and just to kick back and relax. Traverse City is also home to the most iconic events in the entire state, the Cherry Festival. This not only brings a lot of energy to the city, but also creates tremendous opportunity for hospitality and retail. Speaking of cherries, Traverse City is not called the cherry capital of the world for nothing. The cherry industry plays a huge role in Traverse City, and not just because a lot of cherries are grown here, but because the town have adopted cherries as their personality. The numbers are truly impressive. Each year, the Grand Traverse region produces between 100 and 120 million pounds of tart cherries. That's nearly half of the entire cherry crop in the US. This deep-rooted industry has been a part of Traverse City since the 1850s when cherry plants were planted on the Old Mission Peninsula. The cherry industry doesn't just thrive in the fields. It supports a network of businesses. Places like processing facilities, farmers markets, and even places where you can pick your own cherry and pay for them by the pound. During the pandemic, agritourism boomed, and places like King Orchard and Halstead Homestead cherries became go-to spots for safe outdoor family fun. Beyond agriculture, healthcare is also a keystone to the Northern Michigan economy. Munson Medical Center not only provides excellent healthcare in this area, but it also creates a ton of jobs for locals. Combine that with Northwestern Michigan College, which connects students to local jobs, and you've really built a great foundation for business in Traverse City. Here's something that you may not know. Traverse City has become a hotspot for both entrepreneurs and remote workers. It's no secret that since COVID, it seems like anybody who could work remotely has chosen to do so in Northern Michigan. And who can blame them? If you were able to work anywhere in the world, why wouldn't you choose one of the best vacation destinations? Okay, so we know that Traverse City is gorgeous and the economy is thriving. But let's get to the fun stuff. What is it actually like to live here? Let's start with what Traverse City is famous for, events. And like I mentioned earlier, the National Cherry Festival. This isn't just a local festival. It's an 8-day long festival that has been a cornerstone of summers in Northern Michigan since the 1850s. This event draws over 500,000 people to the area every year. They basically shut down downtown Traverse City and let the entire festival consume it, from fair rides to carnival food, and they even draw some pretty big name concerts. People like Nelly, Jordan Davis, and others have performed right on the shores in Traverse City. Also, something that I personally enjoy is the show that the Blue Angels put on every year. And if you aren't familiar with the Blue Angels, they are jets that fly in formation and create some of the most incredible views you've ever seen. And if you've got a competitive streak, you're not going to want to miss the pit spitting competition. It's always a crowd favorite. But let's talk about the numbers. Beyond fun, this festival brings in about $26 million to the local economy. This is just one example of how important cherries are to Traverse City. Now, if you're a film lover, you've probably heard of the Traverse City Film Festival. Founded by filmmaker Michael Moore, this festival has brought international exposure to Traverse City. This event brings in the best in independent cinema, which is displayed right in the local theaters. Now, this festival currently is in a hiatus, but this legacy lives on with TCFF Tuesdays, keeping the Traverse City film culture alive and thriving. For a city of this size, Traverse City really punches above its weight in what it has to offer. The Dennis Museum is a must visit if you're in the area. It features everything from contemporary art to one of the largest Inuit art collections in the world. And of course, there's the Interlochen Center for the Arts, which is just a short drive away and is really a fun place to watch one of the acts that either are local or that they bring in. One of my personal favorite things to do in Traverse City is catch a Traverse City Pit Spitters baseball game. Yes, that is the name of the local baseball team. The team is comprised of basically college players who are looking for something to do in the summer. They are housed by local families and really put on some high quality baseball games that are very affordable to watch. I like bringing my son there and he loves bringing his friends, and it's the same experience you get at an MLB park that is a lot more convenient and a lot less expensive. And as an insider tip, you're going to want to go on Fridays when they have fireworks. Now let's talk about the food and drink scene. Traverse City does not disappoint if you're a foodie. In fact, Traverse City is ranked on the top of the list of the best food scenes in the Midwest. And to be honest, I've actually had people who have traveled the world tell me that they think Traverse City's food scene is better than any other food scene they've seen anywhere. One of the things that I think sets Traverse City's food scene apart is their ability to use fresh, locally sourced ingredients. Traverse City's food scene is really defined by its connection to the region. I've yet to see any area really embrace the farm-to-table concept as well as Traverse City does. For example, Trattoria Stella, a local favorite, serves house-made pasta and seasonal dishes. And over at one of my personal favorite restaurants, the Boathouse, you can get an American Wagyu ribeye while staring at stunning water views. And if you're into craft beer or wine, of course, Traverse City has you covered. The Old Mission and Leelanau Peninsula are home to some award-winning wineries, especially white wines like Riesling and Chardonnay. And of course, downtown, you'll find Right Brain Brewing Company, which is pushing the limits to craft-made beer. And let's not forget dessert. Of course, Traverse City is the cherry capital. That means tons of cherry-infused desserts. You can get a great piece of cherry pie at the Grand Traverse Pie Company, or even my favorite ice cream at Moomer's. Whether you prefer fine dining or are just looking to grab a quick bite, Traverse City truly has something for everyone. Now let's talk about outdoor activities. If you love being outside, then you're gonna love Traverse City. This area is truly a playground for nature lovers, offering everything from peaceful mornings to thrilling adventures. Let's start with the Grand Traverse Bay. It is the heart of so many activities here. Picture yourself kayaking across the bay, or maybe even trying out paddleboarding as the sun rises in the morning. And if you prefer to go a little bit faster, the Grand Traverse Bay is a great place to jet ski. Also, if you're even a little bit more adventurous, you're gonna wanna try parasailing, which is basically being tied to a giant parachute, being towed behind a boat, which lifts you high into the area, allowing you to see for miles and miles. Of course, boating is another popular activity in Traverse City. Whether you own a boat and want to anchor it in the bay, or you choose to rent a pontoon boat for the afternoon to check out the area, the boating scene in Traverse City is truly something to be experienced. And if you like to fish, you're gonna love fishing on Grand Traverse Bay. It seems like every time I head into Traverse City early in the morning, the bay is filled with fishermen. Also, if you want a more laid-back fishing experience like I do, don't hesitate in calling one of the local charter companies who will take you out and show you exactly where to catch the fish. And they'll even clean the fish for you on the way back. The beaches in Traverse City are just as special. At the end of a summer day, there's nothing better than cooling off at the West End Beach. When you're driving into town, this is the area you're going to see people playing volleyball or having a picnic. And as much as I love the water, the land around Traverse City is just as special as well. Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore is one of my favorite places to visit. If you haven't been yet, you have to make it a priority. Also, the Empire Bluff Trail is something cool to check out as well. It's a short hike which rewards you with jaw-dropping views of Lake Michigan. For those of you that want a slower pace, the Sleeping Bear Heritage Trail is perfect for you. It's a paved path that stretches 22 miles, connecting the two charming towns of Empire and Glen Arbor. When winter arrives, Crystal Mountain gives you a whole new area to experience activities. It's just a short drive from downtown Traverse City and offers some great local skiing and snowboarding. Also, if downhill isn't your thing, they have plenty of cross-country skiing trails. What I personally love about Traverse City is being in the outdoors and enjoying the outdoor activities aren't just something you do once in a while here. It actually becomes part of your life. Also, it's a great way to meet people. Whether you've been here for a while or have just relocated to the area, I have had a lot of clients tell me that once they found people who did the same activities that they did, they made fast friends very easily. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting and yes, sometimes challenging parts of Traverse City, the real estate market. Whether you're looking for a year-round home, a vacation home, or even an investment property, Traverse City truly has something for everyone. But the Traverse City real estate market is a market that moves extremely quickly, so knowing what to expect is incredibly important. As of right now, the median sale price in Traverse City is just around $437,000. And believe it or not, homes are selling faster than ever. On an average, a property lasts about 58 days on the market. Now that is fast, but it's still a 6% drop from last year. That means if you do find a home, you're going to have to act quickly. Traverse City is what we call a seller's market, where demand typically outpaces inventory. This makes the area competitive, but also a great area to invest. One thing that I like about the real estate in Traverse City is just how many different versions of real estate we have here. For instance, downtown Traverse City offers both historic homes and sleek, modern condos, which are both walking distance to downtown. These areas have seen significant appreciation over the last 5 years, with some pockets appreciating as much as 70%, with the median price of downtown homes hitting just under $800,000 at $797,000. If you're looking for something a little bit quieter, I would recommend considering places like East Bay Township or even Peninsula Township. Each of these townships have their own unique feel. East Bay Township has large homes on large wooded lots, and some of those even have access to the water, while Peninsula Township allows you to live amongst the vineyards with tremendous water views. That is why it is continuously one of the places that people relocating to Traverse City choose to live. Something that I thought was interesting when I was looking at the statistics were homes in East Bay Township actually appreciated at about 8% from last year, while homes in Peninsula Township actually decreased 2%, making it a great time to consider buying there. For those buyers looking to stretch their budget, don't be deterred by these high median sale prices. Of course, Traverse City, like a lot of places in northern Michigan, have become extremely expensive. However, one thing that I think Traverse City really has going for it is the ability to find affordable housing that is still striking distance to downtown. Places like Kingsley and Grawn have, by comparison, very affordable houses being still 15 to 20 minutes away from downtown, allowing you to work downtown Traverse City and still own a home without having a tremendously long commute. Traverse City, of course, is also a great place to consider buying a vacation home or even a short-term rental. Now, I'll be honest, few areas have pushed back as hard on short-term rentals as Traverse City has, so don't even think about putting one in downtown Traverse City. But if you look in some of the surrounding townships, you will quite possibly find areas that allow and even encourage short-term rentals. Of course, every market has its challenges. In Traverse City, the limited inventory can make it hard to find the perfect home right away. And also, the rising prices may cause you to need to adjust your expectations. But I promise you, if you go through the hassle of buying a house in Traverse City, you will likely never regret it. Buying a home in Traverse City is not just about buying a home, it's about buying a lifestyle. Whether it's a cottage by the water, someplace close to downtown, or a home in the woods, Traverse City has many different living options. And I'd love to help you find the perfect fit. Reach out to me at any time, no matter what step of the process you're at, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have or give you my personal perspective on what's happening in the market. Now let's talk about something really important. Who is going to love living in Traverse City and who should probably buy someplace else? After years of helping people move here, I've noticed some patterns in the people that end up loving living in Traverse City, and even some patterns in those who end up moving right away. If you're someone who lives for outdoor adventure, you're going to love Traverse City. I'm talking about people who get excited about the ability to jump on their boat after work, who can't wait for the ski season, or who love picking a different trail to hike every weekend. If that's you, then you'll think you hit the jackpot. You'll also thrive here if you're looking for an area that has a small town feel, but still offers upscale amenities. We've got amazing restaurants, a great wine scene, and even some great cultural events. These are things you would expect to see in a big city, but are actually available in a small town like Traverse City. Traverse City is also an incredible spot for families, especially if you value education and safety. Traverse City has highly rated schools and a tremendous sense of community. Your kids can still ride their bikes around town and wave to people who know them by name, which is something, quite frankly, you don't find everywhere these days. Plus, there are endless opportunities for family fun, whether it's going to the beach for the day or heading out to pick cherries. And if you're looking to retire, Traverse City is a great place to retire, especially if you want to remain active. Between golf courses, pickleball, and social clubs, there is plenty of ways for you to stay active and interact with the community. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Who may regret moving to Traverse City? If you're somebody that hates winter, hates cold weather, hates the snow, and can't see anything positive in it, you're probably not going to like Traverse City. The winters here are long and serious business. Yes, I believe the winters are beautiful, and even if you don't like being in the cold, it's still pretty to look outside and watch the snow fall. But let's face it, at some point you're going to have to interact with the snow and cold temperatures, and if that is just not for you, you may want to consider someplace further south. This also may not be the best fit for you if you're looking for a bargain. Traverse City has a tremendous lifestyle, and unfortunately that does come with a pretty hefty price tag. So if you're looking for a more affordable home, you may want to consider other options. Now, while there's still some low-priced homes in and around Traverse City, if you're sheerly looking for a home based on price, you'd be better off looking at other parts of the state. And if you're somebody that needs all of the amenities of a big city, meaning a large international airport, a large shopping mall, and all the big box stores that you're going to see in the city, you may not like Traverse City. Let's face it, Traverse City is more about sunset cruises than it is about nightclub hopping. Here's something interesting though. If you want to move to Northern Michigan and you think that Traverse City is too busy for you, I'd like to give you another option, Petoskey. It's about an hour and a half north and shares many similarities with Traverse City with a much more laid back and small town feel. Petoskey is perfect if you're looking for a more intimate downtown experience, and if you prefer a quieter, slower, more laid back pace of life. In fact, I get a lot of people that call me that are trying to pick between Traverse City and Petoskey, and the advice that I always give them is to spend a day in each town. So over the last few months, I've been giving a ton of tours to people in both Traverse City and Petoskey and letting them decide. It's really been a lot of fun to watch their brains work and see what was important to each area, to find out what caused them to like one area or the other area, what they thought was a plus, what they thought was a minus. And it's really been an interesting experience, allowing me to see the patterns develop in the type of people that choose Traverse City or the type of people that choose someplace like Petoskey. If you're thinking about relocating to Northern Michigan, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Whether you're just in the preliminary stages or you're actually ready to start viewing houses, I would love to be a resource. Feel free to reach out to me at 231-487-6141 or email me at gino@ginodangelo.com, or click the link in the description to schedule a call with me at your convenience. And hey, before you go, speaking of Petoskey versus Traverse City, here's a video that I did that compared the two areas to help you decide which one may be the best fit for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.